Sentries and I have a love-hate relationship.
My leg. The machine gun sentry got my leg.
But if you treat them right and put a little thinking power into where you want to place them, they can be some of the most effective stratagems in the entire game. My name is Commissar Kai, and today is all about sentries. I'll teach you how to use them, what role each one fills, and how they fit into your loadouts. So let's go meet our little murder machines. Some sentries work better in tandem with others. For example, stacking 4 mortars on top of each other is hilariously effective. But for our helldivers that play on a super potato, the sheer amount of ordnance can sometimes be an issue.
I'm playing this on a laptop, so every time some big explosion goes on, my frame rate drops for a bit.
Have you considered trying hone.gg? Performance issues are a threat on par with galactic tyranny. Whether you're spreading managed democracy via Hellpod or enjoying your shore leave with Space Marine 2, Hone.gg has the PC performance optimizations to help you liberate your frame rates and optimize your experience for all your favorite games. But to make sure that it worked, I grabbed a few of my commandos to test it out. Me on Eagle 2, my beast of a gaming PC, and my buddy, Speed, on his rig made out of duct tape, scraps, and prayers to the machine gun. We found some bots to volunteer as test subjects.
Oh, bots, you are about to have a very bad day.
And dropped enough ordnance on their heads to ensure that our PCs felt the strain. Before using Hone's optimizations, Eagle 2 was dipping down to the low 50s, while Speed's machine was crashing into the 20s and 30s. But with just a few easy clicks later to enable Hone's gaming mode and gaming optimization, we dropped in and tried it again. This time, Eagle 2 was riding steady at 60 frames per second, while Speed saw a drastic improvement at a much smoother 50 frames per second. Hone's free version has all the tools you'll need to start improving your experience. And if you aren't satisfied with the program, you can disable it just as easily. If you find that it makes your gaming experience better, then for just $5.99 per month, you can unlock all the features that Hone has to offer and terminate any ads. Alright, now that I can feed my editors.
I'm so hungry, please, Commissar. I've been surviving off steel crackers and eagle sweat.
Shut it, Swigs. Your sandwich is on the way. Let's talk about sentries. Where you place your little freedom helpers is vital to their success. Too often I see our slower helldivers throwing sentries directly in the middle of a bot drop or a bug breach, or behind them, which leads to predictable results.
I'm so Zodic peeled.
I just got murdered by Gary again! If you want your sentry to survive long enough to fire off all of its ammunition and not send you to the wall of martyrs, then there's 3 places you'll want to look for. The first is choke points. Whether this is between 2 trees on Gakro or on the streets of a megacity, sentries love choke points. Force the enemies of humanity into a tight funnel and sit back while you enjoy the results of our stolen bot technology. The labors of our brave and democratic engineers. If you can't find a good choke point, hills will also do the trick. If you're at the top of a hill watching fascism crawl out of a hole, slapping a few sentries just below the hill line will keep them focused on that bug breach and prevent them from getting distracted by incoming patrols, which also makes them much less likely to murder you in cold blood. If the top of a hill ain't an option, you can also use the base of a hill for a similar effect. Anything cresting the ridge will get blasted to pieces, and you can stand a bit further back, using your stratagems and support weapons to give that hill the old USS Wisconsin treatment. Temper. Sentries are like teammates. Little, murderous teammates. They will fire on anything they deem a valid enemy combatant. And if you happen to get between them and their food, they will not hesitate to shoot through you to get to the bad guys. Especially Gary.
I turn around and there's an overseer right there.
And he just murders me! Are you kidding me? Damn it, Gary! Despite their propensity for not-so-friendly fire, we do want to treat our little freedom helpers with all the love and compassion we show our fellow helldivers. The important ones, like the autocannon and rocket sentries, we want to keep clear enemies so they can do their democratic work, as they will not fire when enemies are too close to them. While the more disposable sentries, like the Machinegun Sentry, we can treat like that fresh cadet that you throw into a super helldive mission for fun. Either way, look out for your sentries and they'll look out for you. To help facilitate helldiver-sentry relations, let's get to meet each one so that you know what it does, what it's good at, and how to use it. First off, we have Matilda, the Machinegun Sentry. The MG43 Sentry is just the support weapon strapped to a computer and fueled by pure hatred. Fully upgraded, she comes with 263 rounds of ammunition, fires 660 rounds per minute, and has a 76-second cooldown. The cooldown is what makes this sentry one of the best, since the downtime between calling her in, her doing her work, and having another one available is very short. She's the perfect stratagem to fill out a loadout if you don't know what else to bring, since she's useful against all factions and can help in nearly any situation. You can even use her rage-fueled democracy bender as a distraction if you need to disengage from a fight. Enemies treat sentries as helldivers, so if a sentry is closer to them, they'll waddle their way towards it and leave you alone. Just be aware, her hatred for our enemies doesn't discriminate, and she will vent her anger on targets that she cannot damage if there are no better targets available. But she's just a democratic woman doing her best to keep us safe. Treat her right and she'll take care of you. Yes, begin fortifications.
You might have to
Time
cross
make
that.
Dorn proud.
I told you, Joe, you just have to believe. Next we have our problem child, Gary the Gatling Sentry. There is no sentry that causes me more grief than this one. Yes, including the Mortar Sentry. I swear, sometimes the targeting gets screwed up and it briefly turns traitor.
Up here.
God damn it! Even when there are no targets available, sometimes our fair-weather friend just craves the blood of liberty. Alright, rant is over. Damage-wise, it is identical to the Machinegun Sentry. It does the same damage and has the same armor penetration value. But as even the biggest crayon enthusiast can tell, it shoots much faster with its 1,560 rounds per minute, which, best as I can tell, is the fastest fire rate in our arsenal. This blistering fire rate comes with a slight downside. Since even fully upgraded, it only has 750 rounds in its internal magazine, meaning if it's firing continuously, it'll run dry in under 30 seconds. The cooldown ain't too bad at 128 seconds with all the upgrades, and it does do its job of clearing out the chaff really well. That said, most of the time you'll be better served taking Matilda instead. She'll last longer, has a lower cooldown, and is at least half as likely to murder you. Moving on to the heavier ordnance, we have Andy the Autocannon Sentry. Andy is my favorite workhorse of democracy because I love autocannons and he has the biggest one. He fires in 3-round bursts, even if it's not required, with each shot doing 450 damage at AP 5 and an added explosion at AP 3 and 150 damage. Meaning in total, each time he speaks, he's dropping 1,800 damage mixtapes downrange. I know you have issues, son, but you're still my favorite. These shots also have a ton of stagger force at 40, meaning they can stagger chargers out of a charge and stop hulks in their tracks. The only real downside is his limited pool of ammo and being restricted to burst fire. Even fully upgraded, Andy only comes packing 36 shots, meaning he'll fire 12 times before calling it a night and going back to sleep. The cooldown is a bit on the longer side at 128 seconds, and you will feel it since he runs out of ammo fairly quick, so you need to be smart about when and where you deploy him. He also refuses to fire on anything too close to him, likely out of some misguided sense of self-preservation. But if you need to clear the field of medium and heavy enemies, Andy has the right tool for the job. Alright, you know him, you love him, Andy's partner in democracy, Randy the Rocket Sentry. If you watch my videos, you'll know that I recommend the Rocket Sentry at nearly every opportunity, and for good reason. Unlike the autocannon, Randy has the good sense to fire one rocket at a time. These rockets do 525 damage at AP 5 on impact, and a further 150 damage at AP 3 and a small explosion around the target, meaning they're great for killing literally anything in the game. He's also the best sentry in the game for taking down gunships, when he's paying attention anyway. Come on,
this is a
I
fortress.
believe in you. Daddy believes in you. Yeah, there you go.
That's
Get him. That's a rock, Randy. Randy comes equipped with 40 rockets, fully upgraded, and has a cooldown of 128 seconds. If you just want a sentry that can hold down an area for a while as you attend to more important matters, Randy is the man, or machine, you'll want watching your back. Alright, prepare yourselves, we gotta talk about the scary one. Morty the Mortar Sentry. I'm convinced that Gary holds the championship title for the most team kills, but the runner-up is absolutely Morty. He fires shells that are the equivalent of impact grenades. So 400 damage at AP 3, and he comes packing 48 of them, firing in 4-round bursts. This is a whole lot of anger to throw at the enemy, or helldivers that aren't paying attention. He can fire at targets not in his line of sight, and can be directed to fire at specific targets using the cross-compatibility ship upgrade. This is great news, because left to his own devices, Morty will fire at the closest available target. And because the closest available target is usually also the closest enemy to you, you will need to rein in his more destructive impulses by removing things that get too close. There are two sentries that get along great with our homicidal friend, and it's probably not the one that you're thinking about. The Machinegun Sentry can keep the immediate area clear of those way too close for comfort targets. And the second pairing is more mortars. This works especially well on the bot front since they're less likely to rush you. But having 4 mortar sentries pop off at the same time is just a hilarious amount of firepower. If you've ever gotten tired of hearing this sound,
Warning, you are in range of enemy artillery.
then give the clankers a taste of their own medicine.
Warning, you are in range of helldivers artillery.
Seriously, y'all, grab some buddies and try this. It's a ton of fun. Or if you don't have a team to do ridiculous mortar stacking strats with, check out my Discord linked in the description. We have 14,000 helldivers ready to show the galaxy just how much more fun liberation is with friends. Our next sentry is the mad scientist of sentries, Rick, the EMS Mortar Sentry. Y'all had to see that one coming. And yes, I do have a reason for naming all of my sentries, given that I have just said the words sentry or sentries 43 times so far, and we're only about halfway done. Plus, it's just fun.
All the time. I'm so Zodic pilled.
I just got murdered by Gary again! Anyway, Rick fires special EMS rounds that stun enemies in a 12-meter radius around the point of impact. And he can do this to targets that are up to 125 meters away. He also benefits from the cross-compatibility enhancement, meaning you can target these shells kinda manually. He only has 23 shells fully upgraded and fires incredibly slow at just 10 rounds per minute, but that means he's got a long shelf life. Just be aware that Rick needs the most protection out of all the sentries due to that low rate of fire and non-lethal payload. So drop him down when you need to defend an area and can watch over him while he lulls your enemies to sleep. Or just bring the Machinegun Sentry to watch his back while he works. Next up, we have our burning little light of freedom, Bernice, the Flame Sentry. I really want to love you, darling, but you badly need some upgrades. The Flame Sentry has, as best as I can tell, the same range as a flamethrower, which is not a lot.
Like hold right click.
What the fuck? Why does that work? This isn't great for a couple of reasons. It gives the enemy plenty of time to close the distance before she shares her burning love of democracy, and she's not immune to her own flames. Thankfully, she does like to go out with a bang, causing an explosion that leaves more fire on the ground. But until she gets a range upgrade or becomes immune to her own fire, this is probably the most niche sentry we have. If you still want to make use of her, she does pair pretty well with the Tesla Tower since it will not target her, and she can block up a choke point long enough for you to get clear of an area. But with a 128-second cooldown and an average life expectancy that your average helldiver would envy, I'd probably leave her on the ship for now. Our final sentry is another one of my favorites, and it comes in 3rd place for the amount of friendly fire kills on his record. Introducing Terry the Tesla Tower. Now, I don't know why helldivers are drawn to this sentry like a moth to a flame, but I will use this opportunity to try and limit how many of you I send to the Wall of Martyrs. Terry loves his personal space. He'll fire off arcs of electricity that do 600 damage at AP4 and can chain to multiple enemies. Or you. These arcs will fire at anything that gets within 20 meters of Terry because he is incredibly antisocial. But they can chain even further beyond that. If you find yourself invading Terry's personal space and don't want to be zapped to death, crawl on your belly. Terry will not target helldivers that are on the ground. But the reason I value this sentry so highly against the squids and the bugs is how often he's available to shock some sense into Tyranny's minions. He's got a 102-second cooldown fully upgraded and a 120-second duration, meaning you can even have more than one up at a time for a brief period. But even if he gets taken down early, the cooldown is short enough that you'll be able to call on his services soon again. Use him to block choke points, act as a distraction, or otherwise block lanes of attack. Finally, we have sentries with extra steps, otherwise known as emplacements. Treat these like you would other sentries when it comes to placing them, but since helldivers have slightly more brain power than the potatoes power in our other sentries, they are a bit more reliable. The GL-21 Grenadier Battlement comes with a wall of deployable cover and a grenade launcher with a single 60-round capacity magazine. You heard that right, this emplacement comes with more grenades than the grenade launcher, and you can fire all of them without reloading. The only downside being that it only has a range of 180 degrees in front of you, so you'll need something watching your back. Its cooldown is tiny, and the firepower it brings is immense. Don't sleep on it. The AT-12 anti-tank emplacement, affectionately known as the gaming chair, is available in the Urban Legends Warbond. It is exactly what it says on the tin, a giant 75mm anti-tank gun that comes with 30 rounds. Each of these rounds does 1,300 damage at AP6, which is a little bit more than a commando rocket. This is the best stratagem in the game for dealing with factory strider convoys or for just blowing up anything that it can see. It's even great at destroying spawners. The only downsides are its cooldown at 153 seconds fully upgraded, and the turning speed, which is just painfully slow. Last but not least, we have the MG-101 HMG emplacement. It hits a little bit harder, but you can imagine this as two HMGs strapped together. It does 200 damage per round at AP4 and has a 300 round capacity. It's also very accurate, so you can put these giant bullets exactly where they need to be. Its accuracy and punch make it exceptionally good at handling medium armored threats, and that AP4 means it can punch up if it needs to. The last thing I'll mention is how they fit into your loadouts. Sentries synergize really well with each other, crowd control effects like the orbital gas strike or eagle napalm, and support weapons like the recoilless rifle, queso cannon, and the arc thrower. But the important thing is not really what else you're bringing to the fight. It's protecting your sentries while they do their work. Here's some example loadouts against each faction that I like to use that feature sentries pretty heavily. The biggest standout here is the one against the bots. On this one, you'll want to bring the recoilless rifle, Randy and Andy, and one flex pick. Primary, secondary, and grenades are totally up to you. But the idea is Randy and Andy will hold down the fort while you take out any big threats with your recoilless rifle using your primary, secondary, and grenades to deal with everything else. But just these two sentries can completely shut down a bot drop. Sentries are all basically automated support weapons with a limited duration, and each is very good at what it does. Except for you, Bernice. Your time will come. So embrace the spirit of cooperation and you'll get a lot more mileage out of your sentries. Thanks again to Hone.gg for sponsoring this video. But until next time, this is Commissar Kai, signing out.
Cold, the air and water. Hard the light we call home. Push to keep the dark from coming. Feel the weight of what we hold.